Hey friends, how's everybody doing this evening? I realized yesterday I made a video on Centerlines, and I realized as I was editing this uh, that I needed to add more to it, and just as it pertains to a board, I was like, as it pertains to an axe handle. But where does an axe handle come from? It comes from a board of some sort. This is a 2x4. We can use this to illustrate um, the points, and hopefully this will fit in with the video that I did yesterday on Centerlines. Learning how to look at a board, whether you're at the home center, the lumber yard, or your hardwood supplier, is crucial. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to want the straightest piece of wood that you can come up with. It's just going to help you, especially if you don't have a lot of equipment, if you don't have a joiner, you don't have a planer, your tool selection is limited. Wood choice is going to be high up there on the list. It's going to save you a lot of aggravation and a lot of just frustration as you go along with a certain project. So let me just run through real quick what I do when I select a board. So let's say that this is 8 feet long. The first thing I will do is I will pick it up and I'll close one eye, and with one eye I will sight down this corner, and you'll get good enough that you can see straight and you can see crooked, or there's lots of different things that can happen to a board. One, a couple, or all three of them can happen. A crown in a board is the tendency for the board on edge going like this, one direction or another. And you want to avoid a crown that's extreme. You want to eye this, and that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking down this corner. Next, I turn it flat, and I'm looking for a bow. When a board's turned flat and it looks like a rocking chair, that's called a bow. And then, of course, I turn it back and I look at the corner again, and a board can actually be twisted. There can be two opposing tensions in the board, all generated by water, and it'll twist. So like I said, you can have one of these, two of these, or all three of them, in which case, if you have all three, you might as well put it back. But what I do when I go is I'm really choosy, and I will set every one that I don't want aside, so I'm not going over stuff I've already looked at. So anyway, choosing the straightest piece of wood is the best thing you can do. Now, there's other things that can happen. You want to be looking at your lumber. You want to bring it in, especially if you're going from a temperature extreme. You want to stabilize it. You don't want to start working on it right away. Now, if it's the summer, that's a little bit different story. We're going to assume that it's fairly stabilized, but going from one extreme to the other is more of a problem. So that kind of covers. That's just kind of like a overview of wood selection. Just kind of do some centerline basics. Let's say this board has a crown in it. Let's say I chose this board and it had a very minimal crown. Over 8 feet, I was crowned, say 3/16 of an inch. Got it home, put it in the garage, got it in a little bit different of environment. It went from a nice warm Home Depot to my garage, and I look at it when I'm getting ready to use it, and the crown is bigger, and I don't have a choice. I got to get going. I can't go back and get one. So what do? You've got, let's say it's gone from a hat to a half. So basically what you would do is take both ends, and let's say it was going this way. You could stretch a chalk line from point to point and snap that, and it would expose the crown, and then you just cut the crown off. This comes even more into play when you're using a table saw. It's important when you're using a table saw to not have a crown. If you have a crown, it's potentially dangerous. There's enough going on with the table saw anyway, but at the very least, the saw is going to follow the crown. So basically, you're going to just keep accentuating whatever anomaly is in the board. So it is good to make sure you have a straight edge. Now if you don't have a joiner, and you know, some people think you don't need one, but if you're getting serious into woodworking, a joiner is a lifesaver. It's not only useful for eliminating crowns, but also flattening boards, and I'll do a whole thing on how the joiner works. A tool I would recommend is an electric power planer, because what you can do is when you snap this crown, then you can rough cut it, stay off the line, and then run your power planer over it and put more of a factory edge on it and true it. Then you can run that through the table saw with this edge towards the fence, and then you've got two parallel edges. And that's a quickie 101 of just board basics. Again, you want to select wood that's going to treat you right. You don't want to be fighting your material. That chalk line, and it's such a simple tool, a chalk box, but you can really depend on it. It's straight. So then when you do this, and you snap that, and you rip it with your power saw as straight as you can make it, then you run your power planer over it, and you've got a great edge. But I think this illustrates, you know, if you have a big crown and a board, probably wouldn't use it, especially if it was a 1x12 oak and it was all boogered up. I probably wouldn't take the time to fight with it unless it was just absolutely critical that for some reason that board be used. But what I'm talking about as it pertains to axes is, let's say your board has a bow, crown, bow, and you've measured or used your calipers like I showed in the video, and you found your center. Now, you could take a marking gauge and mark it. You could scribe it like this. You can learn to scribe with your finger like that. All of that works if your board is straight. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you've got a bow in this board and you use this edge to scribe this, you're going to put a bow in your center line, which when it comes down to it with building anything, centers are everything. But with an axe, you've just put that bow in your center line. Again, take a straight edge, connect those lines. That's how you make a straight axe handle if you've got a bowed board. Because then, once you actually have a center line that you know is straight, because you've connected those lines with a rule. You know, this stuff can go wherever it wants to. What you're going to do then is lay out off of your center line. So if you're going to rough your handle at 1 inch wide or 1 1/8 inches, then you go 1 inch, you go 9/16 either side of center, connect those dots, and everything is straight. Then you can remove all of the junk off of those outside lines, and you've got your straight business. And you end up looking, let me see here, you end up looking something like this. You can see, hopefully you can see, there's my center line, there's my 1/2 inch or whatever it was I did for this handle, then I ran it through the bandsaw and I can see my line. So now I know this is straight. And with my center lines, I actually love, when I'm doing a custom handle, I go ahead and haft the thing. And that way I know my bit, I can align my bit with my center line and the center line on the butt, and you have an axe that is aligned to the center line. So I hope that is helpful, and I'm going to put this, I'm not sure how this is going to go together, but center lines are everything. They really are. You know, like I said, you can do all this by eye, but as you go, you know, if you want to progress, sooner or later you're going to be sitting on a center line. Yeah, so anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I've got a sharpening video coming up. Joe307. I've been talking to him, and he's got some. He bought some sharpening stuff, and I was like, hey, that's a great opportunity to do a sharpening video. So I've got one of those coming up, and we're still going to we're working on our splitting axe. So we've got to get to the store and look for a handle. We got to find a handle for this guy. So stay tuned, like and subscribe, and give us a chance. Y'all are great. I really appreciate all the comments, and I'll talk to you soon.